Alright, today I'm going to give you an explanation about our new suspension bushings, and I always jokingly call some of the things that we create the best, but the fact is what we do is if there's something we're going to do that belongs to Hunterworks and we feel a need for it in the industry, then we're going to pull in other popular products, check see what the material's made out of, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and if there's a point of failure on it, then we're going to try to make it better. And that's what we always just jokingly just call the best, because everybody's always posting on forums and Facebook, wherever, say what's the best, whatever. Well, we jokingly just call ours the best. But let me describe to you what we're doing with our bushings to make them what we would consider the best out there. First of all, you need to know what stock ones are and what ours are. First thing you're going to notice is color. There's black, ours gray, not the color matters. But these are injected molded, and these are made out of a proprietary plastic that we CNC make. I say they're made in a state-of-the-art facility, not in a garage, not on a manual mill, made by an individual. It's programmed, engineered, and the exact tolerances every single time. There would never be a difference. So that's a big plus. As far as the material is concerned, big long word. I don't even have to read it to you. This is our engineer comes up with this. This is a polyalloy metallic polymer bushing. Big long word to say a very high-tech plastic that's self-lubricating. Nobody else makes their bushings out of this material. There's a reason. It's very expensive material, and apparently nobody knows about it yet either. So that's a big difference right there. Other manufacturers rank their plastic from Delrin, then HDPE to UHMW as the best material to make bushings out of, when in fact it's not. They do it because of cost versus profit. We're not going to profit a whole lot of these. We're just going to try to sell them in quantity and make our money that way, instead of charging what we really should if we were going by traditional profit margin standards. All right, but what also makes a big difference in our bushing system over anybody else's is we are the only bushing, I call us a bushing manufacturer, who has a two-part system. Now, it doesn't mean other people don't have sleeves. It's just our sleeve is different. Okay, so here would be considered standard. This is just a cheap Chinese-made piece of steel. Nothing special about it. And other bushings are the bearing themselves, and that's what we call it here in the shop. This is a bearing. The bushing is a bearing, and the bushing and everybody else's is the bearing. And ours is going to be a two-part system. All right, so what does that mean? That means that this is not just a piece of steel. And again, I got to go to my reading information to tell you what it is. Okay. All right, this is a peen-hardened seamless stainless steel that has been electroplated with our proprietary thallium, tungsten, chromium carbide coating. Well, another big word to say this is not just a piece of steel. It has a coating in it, and when you put our bushing and our sleeve together, it becomes a bearing as one. Nobody else does that. All right, so that's a real big difference right there. Now then, one of the things you'll see on install videos, you really don't need to touch these no more than you have to. They're going to come in I always jokingly call it a dirty little bag, got some extra little powder in it. Don't wipe them off. Slide them in according to our install video, but kind of keep your fingers off of them best you can. I know you got to grab them to get them started, but keep your fingers off of them. All right, so that's the main difference, is this two-part system. These do not require lubrication. They do work with the lube, but you do not have to grease them. They're self-lubricating. The sleeve and the bushing together work together. So they also have a low coefficient of friction, as low as 0.030. As mentioned, they're compatible with other lubricants, but not necessary. The sleeve will handle up to an 85,000 pound PSI load and will not deform on impact. The bushing itself will withstand 20,000 PSI on impact. Bearing temperature range, negative 350 degrees to 500. Well, obviously a vehicle's not going to be anywhere near that, but what that tells us is hot or cold, and the environment, it's not going to affect our bushings. Non-squeaking, anti-galling, and anti-seizing. Once again, because of the lubrication properties built into both pieces, that it does that. All our components are made here in the United States, and we're applying for patents on the bushing and the sleeve to keep other companies from duplicating what we did. Like I said, we're certainly not first to the market with bushings. We just try to do something better when there's a need. As of today's date, these are only available for a few models on the front, but depending on when you watch this video, there's going to be other models available for the rear, the 900s and the 1000Ss very soon. Another thing that sets our bushings apart than others, and certainly the stock, and I don't keep up with everybody's bushings, so I won't say ain't nobody else do this, but certainly different from stock, is that if you'll take a stock bushing and our bushing, and you can see real quick how thick ours is and thin is. Well, the OD is the same, it's the ID that's different. So what we did is a sleeve's main job is to go in between the A-arm mounts to keep, when you bolt it together, keep it from crushing it and give where the A-arm can pivot. All right, so its thickness is not quite as important as what the width of it is. All right, but if you'll notice right here, here's a stock larger one and our smaller one. What we did was we obviously kept the hole diameter the same, but we made the outside diameter smaller and made our bushing thicker. Now this is particular bushing on the front A-arm. We'll call it top right or rear, whatever you want to call it, bushing. And so point is, you got more bushing material than stock and probably most other manufacturers. So that's another big difference. So anyway, we just consider it to be the best available today, and we'll continue to move forward. The engineer that works on this project is a guy that taking care of our secondary roller weights mostly for the XP 1000. Since this is April the 5th, since November we sold over 1,000 of them, and flat spotting, it's just not been an issue with our roller. So we just took his knowledge of plastics and exotic plastics and carried it over into other areas, and of course we'll continue to do that as we see needs arise in other places. So he's got a great background, and I'm tickled to death to have an engineer on staff to help with projects like this, because at the end of the day, I'm the guy that does the videos, I'm the guy you talk to, explains it and shows you how to put it in. I'm not the guy to figure it all out. You wouldn't want me figuring it out. But anyway, if you have any questions, you give me a call here at Hunterworks.